welcome back to another video. My name is Tenetv, also known as Tenetv, and today we're going to get into how I achieved this juicy braid out using only 2 products. Now this routine is what I've done consistently for all of 2024, and I just wanted to come here today to give y'all a step-by-step tutorial on how I achieved bra length hair in under a year. So let's get into this video. Now the first thing I do is shampoo my hair. I personally don't have a favorite shampoo. I just kind of use what I have. So honestly, if you guys have any shampoo suggestions, feel free to drop them down below in the comments. So the purpose of me shampooing my hair is to basically get rid of all the buildup and dirt from the week. And this step is honestly very important for me and my hair when it comes to retaining moisture, because when I have buildup, it just pretty much blocks any type of moisture or hydration from reaching my actual hair because it's covered by dirt. So shampoo, shampoo, shampoo. So next I go in with the Wonder Curl Restoring Hair Treatment, which is really great for deep conditioning and detangling my hair. You can honestly leave this on for 5 to 10 minutes, or you can leave it in for 30 minutes if you want that deep condition. Me personally, when I need a deep condition, I'll leave this on for 30 minutes and then I'll sit under my steamer just for that little extra pop of moisture. Now once I do that, I am going to rinse everything out like so, making sure I get everything out so that I can get into the styling portion of this tutorial. So I'm going to get out of your way and let the Tenetv from earlier with the freshly washed hair get into the braid out portion of this tutorial. See ya! Thanks sis for that super cute introduction. Now before I get started, me personally, I do like to define my middle part. So my preference is a middle part. You are more than welcome to do a side part. But me personally, I feel like you could always just pop your hair over to the side if that's how you're feeling. But I'd rather my part be solid in the middle. So now that my part is solidified in the center, I am going to section my hair off into 4s. That is how I work best. It just helps make things more uniform and it helps the process go by quicker. It's just sectioned off. Alright, so now that my hair is sectioned off into 4s, it is time to get into this braid out that we all have been waiting for patiently. So the 2 products that I'm going to be using today are the Moisturizing Hair Pudding and the Sealing Hair Butter by Wonder Curl. So these 2 products right here have been my #1 go-to in the year of 2024. I have not used anything but these 2 products religiously and consistently throughout this entire year. And again, this is what has gotten me to where I am hair-wise. And I'm going to insert a before and after clip so that y'all can see just exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to how I got my hair from point A to point B. Okay, so the first clip I'm showing you guys is at the beginning of the year, and then this second clip is literally 1 month before the end of 2024. Okay, so about 11 months using these products consistently. So starting on my first section, I am going to be taking my moisturizing hair pudding and I'm going to be adding a quarter-sized amount. So take a nice generous scoop with your finger and I'm going to add that to the first section, okay? Because remember, we are working section by section. And one thing I will say that I love about this moisturizing hair pudding is that it really keeps my hair hydrated for days without me having to like re-wet it or like refresh it throughout. So that is a definite bonus when it comes to this pudding. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to part or section out with my finger my first braid, okay? So in this back section, we are going to do 5 braids in total, okay? So you want to use your finger and just kind of part through. And again, the reason why I say finger, because you don't really need the parts to be perfect. It's actually better when they're a little bit more messier because it blends well when you go to take the braids down. So with this first piece, I am going to go ahead and re-wet it just a little bit because my hair does get a little dry as I go through my process and I want to keep it hydrated throughout. So once I re-wet it, I am going to go ahead and take my sealing hair butter and I'm going to take about a dime sized amount. Again, a little goes a long way with this product. You don't need a lot. And it does not have that greasy residue that you may experience with other products. What I love about this butter is that it is perfect for dry climates, as well as keeping my low porosity hair hydrated, okay? So with low porosity hair, your hair is prone to dryness. And living in Florida like I do, your hair is prone to dryness. So this is like the perfect go-to for that. Now, once I apply the sealing hair butter to this first piece, I am going to go ahead and detangle this section. So now that this is detangled, I'm going to go ahead and start braiding my hair. So you want to section it off into 3. And then you're just going to start braiding down the hair. And what I like to do is I like to detangle as I braid. I learned like this is perfect for when you're separating the curls and doing the takedown process. It helps with that because it doesn't snag or like tangle together. It's like so much easier to like split apart. Get to the end, I do leave a little bit out, and I'm going to take like a fine-tooth comb and I'm just going to brush out the very ends like so. I'm then going to take a little perm rod and I'm going to wrap the ends around that perm rod like so. Just going to roll it up just a little bit, and then I'm going to clip it shut like so. So this is a successful first braid in our braid out routine, okay? All right, so I'm almost halfway done, and I'm going to walk you guys through this process once again. So again, I'm going to make sure I spray a little bit of water. I already added the moisturizing hair pudding on the entire section. Now I'm going to go ahead and take about a dime size amount of the sealing hair butter. Remember, a little goes a long way. I'm going to rub it between my palms like so. And then I'm going to coat this piece of hair thoroughly. You want to make sure everything is nice and coated. And then I'm going to take my detangling brush. I'm going to go ahead and brush through that piece. Because remember, we always want to work on detangled hair. Let's just look at the moisture. Yes. All right, so now we are ready to start braiding. So you definitely want to go ahead and section that off into 3s. Make sure the sections are pretty even, and then you're just gonna work all the way down the braid. And remember, as you go, make sure that the hair is nice and detangled, because that will help with the separation process of the hair. Now, just a little sidebar. Both of these products do contain aloe vera, shea butter, and castor oil. So the aloe vera in the product acts as the conditioner. The castor oil is going to help retain the moisture, and then the shea butter is going to help seal in that moisture. So these are all really good key ingredients for a lasting, hydrated, and moisturized braid outs, okay? So let's go on ahead and keep working down that braid. And you guys can see I'm just kind of detangling as I go. I kind of have to keep doing it because my hair is a little more kinkier. So even though I detangle the whole thing at the beginning, that doesn't mean it stays that way throughout. And so we're just going to work our way all the way down. And make sure when you separate into 3, that is your 3 sections. Don't like cross hairs over to the other section, because that's going to make it harder to separate when you're like fluffing out your braid out. So you want to make sure you separate them into 3 and get like nice even sections, so that you could just braid down like so. And then when we get to the end, again guys, you can leave your braid by itself. Like for example, let me show you. I'm at the end and I can simply just twist it around my finger and let it curl on its own, or comb it out a little bit. Take one of my perm rods and I'm gonna wrap the ends around it. Either way is fine. I just feel like it gives like a better look when you put the perm rod at the end. So again, I don't need it. It just gives it a more like fuller, bigger, curlier look at the end versus like a straighter braid out look. And I'll try to put an example of that because it's a little hard to explain. But this is one half completely done, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish the other half off camera. So I will be back. All right, so I officially finished braiding up all of my hair. And now what I'm going to do is actually sit under my head dryer. And this is the Infinity Pro by Conair. I personally like to heat dry my hair. However, you can literally go about your business like this and let it air dry. That's just not my preferred method. So I'm going to sit under here for about 2 hours, and then I'm going to do the takedown process with you all. See you soon. All right, so all of my braids are officially thoroughly dried from the head dryer. So remember guys, I like to sit under the head dryer. I do not like to dry my hair by air drying it, because I just feel like when your hair is wet, it's in its most weakest state, and I don't need my hair dealing with that harshness. I'd rather just air dry it, get the process over with, and keep it pushing. Okay, so let's go ahead and take these down. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take off all of the rollers, because it just makes it quicker and easier to deal with. So let's do that. All right, so what I'm gonna do next is pin this up. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of twist it, put a little pin in it, like that. And then pin up the other side so that it could be out of the way. All right, so let's start taking out these braids, okay? So for me, I do like my braid outs to have a fuller look. So I do separate each strand in the braid one time. And I'm gonna show you what I mean. And you see I'm not like raking through, because I don't want it to have like a picked out look. I just want it to separate exactly where I braided and separated it originally. So this is how I had it. 3 separate braids, excuse me, 3 separate pieces, and I braided it down. I made sure it was detangled so that when I take it out, they just come apart like this. And you see, nice and defined. Let's get a close up. All right, so what I mean by separate it once is I'm gonna take the first piece, I'm gonna literally split it in half like that. You see how it just slipped apart like butter? I'm gonna take the next piece, split it in half like that, and then the last piece and just split it in half like so. Okay, because I feel like it gives it a more fuller look versus too uniform to me. I like my hair a little bit messy. So that is what I'm going to repeatedly do throughout the whole entire hair, and then I will be back for the stretching part of this video. Stay tuned. The last braid, and as you can see, it's already looking very fluffy, and I only separated at once. Because again, I do have high density hair, so I cannot be picking and fluffing my roots and all that, because it does it all by itself. And again, guys, you can leave it like this. So like, for example, when you take out the braid, you can actually just leave it like this. Me personally, I just like a little bit of a more messier look, so I am going to take it, split it in half, and pull, so it's like a little more puffier. Split it in half and pull, and then take that last piece, split it in half and pull. Boom. So you are now more than welcome to leave it like this. Okay, like I could go out and about like this if I wanted to. That would be my business. However, I am going to continue on with this process, and I'm actually going to go ahead and stretch my hair. So I'm about to go ahead and do that. I do use a blow dryer to do so. So I'm going to show you guys that process now. All right, so I do have a FHI heat blow dryer, and I am going to put it on high heat, high air, high everything, because this is just a quick in the roots and to keep it pushing. So let's get started with that. The first thing I am going to do is section my hair back into 4. So we're going to take the first section, pop a clip on there, take that back section, pop a little clip on there. And again, guys, this should already be pretty much separated because we did do 4 sections from the start, so it shouldn't be hard to get those sections back pumping. And then that last back section, ooh, one almost fell. All right, so first thing I do in the first section, take a nice little chunk out. And in total, it should be about 3 little chunks that you're blow drying the roots. So let me do that. So I put it on high heat, and then I'm going to put it on high blow. Already see how much stretch that did, and that was only like 2 seconds of like air blowing on the top, lift up and go at it on the bottom, and then that's it. Just a little shabam shapow wow. All right, so let me take out my next little piece. And if you see, you can see the difference. So this is the piece that I just took down. It's like right here. And then this is the stretch piece. It's quick. You don't have to do it. But me personally, I prefer that little stretch. And I do tug it just a little bit. So I hold it taut like this when I'm blow drying the roots. Another fun fact, do not blow dry the ends, because the ends naturally have that curl from the curlers that you made. You don't want to blow those out. You want to hold, so you want to make sure everything is pretty even. You're going to hold it. So you pinch it like this in between your pointer and your thumb, and you hold it out, okay? You don't blow dry this piece here, just here, the roots and a little bit of the shaft. So I'm going to hold it like this. And then you just let it go. So it should look like this. And you see, it took probably about 2 minutes to do that whole section. If you feel like some places need a little more length, you could always go back in and fix that up. These front pieces, I kind of leave them because I do like a little staggered look. I don't want everything the same length, and then I'm just gonna do the piece behind it. This half nice and stretched out, and then let me take down this half so you can see the difference. All right, do we see the difference? Because this is crazy. Now this is still cutesy Bella, but something about this just hits more for me. It just gives me more of like an elongated look, and it just really shows off and showcases my length, which I really like in my braid out. So yeah, this okay, but this gonna hit for sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my hair, and then I'll be back. All right, everyone, so this is officially the finished look for my 2024 braid out that I achieved using only 2 products consistently throughout the entire year. Now I just want to say thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed this video, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye.
In the party, he just wanna rump. Big boots in the bus, they plump. She a baddie, she knows she a 10. She a baddie with her baddie friend. They like, I tell you, always stay hot.